Welcome everyone to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, October the 9th, 8:46 p.m. Thank you so much for being live. A little late. So sorry I had to take care of some business for work. So deeply apologize for being a little late. But we're live. Thank you so much for everyone and your support. A fantastic weekend that we had on Saturday. A phenomenal game for the Lions. A little in the end, we kind of lose some momentum there, but definitely I take that we are geared towards, I think, one of the most successful playoff clinches ever in history. So, and now we're going to the playoffs, second, right, in the whole league, with potential of having, well, we having home field advantage in case we go to a potential final. So the final in the MLS, if Orlando goes to the final in the MLS, it will be at Explorer Stadium with the wall and everyone there. So phenomenal news. Great job by Profe Oscar and all the squad. And also the 12th man, that just kept chanting all along for 90 minutes and more. So exciting news. Also, we'll talk about some pride and some other news. You know, a coach that already found a job. We'll talk about all of that, rumors, things like that. John, how are you, my friend? How you feel after this phenomenal win against the Revs, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's another win. I said 3 goals. Actually, I said
Yeah,
4 goals on the
yeah, four
pod,
goals.
but I was feeling it was going to be another three. Right now, we just seem to be able to score like three or more a game. The first 20 minutes for this one, we didn't. We weren't looking. We weren't connecting quite right. We kind of looked like we have in other games, a little bit disjointed. It wasn't flowing quite correctly. And then one goal went in, and then another goal went in, and by halftime it was 3-1. And second half we sat back a little bit, let them get back in the game, let our attention go right there at the last minute. But overall, a 3-2 win against a Rev side that was fighting hard to try and stay up in the top four positions, and caused us some problems with guys like Carlos Gil, who I can't say the name of as much as I try. I end up saying the G every time. So I apologize to our Spanish listeners for my terrible, once again, Spanish name pronunciations because they are awful. I'm sorry.
Well, Paola, you were surely missed this past couple pods. How are you, and how you feel about this Orlando City win against the Revs? Fantastic win.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to personal business taking care of a lot of things happening, but happy to be back. Um, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. The first 20 minutes, like John said, we were kind of not connecting in the front. Um, I don't know, like Pereira had some chance, Angulo had some chance, Rafael Santos was by an inch to do a golazo, and it didn't happen. But after that 31st minute, after that dagger Dan, aka John's favorite, our Swiss knife, army knife, connected with Duncan Maguire, it was all magical after that. We were connecting, we were looking good, and I was nervous, like I said, because it's always tough to beat New England Revs. I don't know. I don't know with this team, but it's always hard when we play against the ref. But thankfully, we were solid. Thanks for the 12 men. We were 24,000 people at the stadium. So that's great news. And hopefully we can see all those people and even more the stadium packed in that first playoff game that is probably on October 28th, if I'm not mistaken. So happy to be back and happy to talk about this amazing game that we saw on Saturday.
Well, Orlando City defeated the New England Revs. They clinched a spot in the 2024 CONCACAF Champions League. Champions Cup, by the way, they changed it again. It's not Champions League because then the Europeans got upset. Apparently, that's the reason why they changed it to Cup, not to League. Whatever. Making it the second consecutive year that the club will appear in the tournament. Now, I believe that for this tournament, Orlando has to open the wallet a little more. and be a more of a spending club. Because in order to make money and win trophies, look at Cincy, the status squad, and it shows the way they play. So, um, you know, to talk a little bit about the game before I do that, I'm gonna read some comments because we're that's so many. Joshua Tall, let's go about finishing second and clinching a top four seed in the playoffs. Also, let's go getting the win versus New England. Thank you so much. GoldTube TV. Un minuto de silencio para Miami que está muerto. Ay, ay, ay. There you go. A minute of silence.
See, I know enough Spanish to know
Yeah.
what that man said.
It's incredible. You know what I mean? So much hype, and then now apparently there's talks that Messi may be grabbing his bags, maybe packing his little bag right there, his little Dolce and Gabbana bag, and is going to be going to either. He has two options: FC Barcelona loaned, or they're saying also Saudi Arabia. Apparently, Neymar's team wants him. Will the MLS accept? I don't know. Their darling is leaving.
Dun dun dun.
Joshua Tall, Oscar Pareja really does deserve to have his contract extended with Orlando City. We'll talk about it in just a moment. Thank you so much. The Real 48, vamos. Victor Jose Sanchez, vamos. Orlando, carajo. Thank you. JCB's 95, buenas noches, everyone. Another great game at home. Vamos, Orlando. There you go. Close to 25,000 people. That's right. 20, yeah, close to 25,000. Where's Messi? He's probably playing FIFA FC24. All right. The first time being at the wall at this game, such a fun time and a great experience. There you go, my friend. There you go. Thank you, JCB's 95. So, honestly, to me, I would have to say, phenomenal game for Orlando City. And one of the reasons why we did so great is because of this man right here. Well, two men. The first, the Helen of the Heartland, Duncan McGuire. I mean, he was called up for the U.S. men's national team for the Olympics. So he's going to be in Phoenix. This is fantastic news for him. Rookie that continued in this great shape, great form with another headed goal after a phenomenal. I mean, like, look, it was like a beautiful shot, man. I saw it live. I was like, man, this is beautiful. To the head. Literally, he only had to do was like go like that, just turn his head a little bit. It was a golazo, like phenomenal play. That link up association between wing and striker. You couldn't get this with Kara, unfortunately, but apparently Duncan is the man, right? Duncan is the man. I mean, he's already shown. People are already saying that the Mac Herman Trophy is gonna bury all the haters, all the doubters that doubted him in the beginning of the season, saying that maybe it was a good pick, but maybe wasn't the best pick Orlando could have had in the draft. I don't know. Who questioned their ability of reasoning, but obviously he's showing that he's amazing. And to talk about the second person that I think he did a phenomenal job in this game was Dagger Dan. I mean, Dagger Dan was superb in this game. I mean, he controlled his tempo very well. He was marking players. He was neutralizing some of the wingers for New England, recuperating the ball, doing link up plays with the mid. It was fantastic to see. John, your thoughts on Duncan McGuire?
I mean, right there, Duncan standing in front of the stars and stripes. What more need to be said, right? The U.S. national team came and said it for us. Sign this guy up, take him to the Olympics. It's kind of like a U23s. I don't know if everybody knows this about the Olympics. Like, every nation doesn't take their full, most strength team. There's some stipulations on what you can take. So it's kind of like he's in a U23 squad in some ways. He's not having to compete with the other guys up there. And so this is an opportunity for him to get some national team experience and play in the Olympics. And congratulations, and well-deserved, right? We're calling for it to happen. And it finally has. And this game was another one. Like we said, Luis, we both called Duncan to score a goal. He started to score again. And I think he's hungry. He knows where the goal is. That header, it reminded me earlier in the season, I watched some of his highlights. He has a reel on YouTube of all of his goals from Creighton. And about 4 or 5 of the 20-something goals he scored in college are headers just like that. Like he loves to attack the near post, jumping high, heading the ball. And I wrote down in my notes that it was, it was Mauricio who started it out because that ball out to the right hand side was just beautiful. And I've been on his case about not having the best passing, and this game was completely opposite. He was a better 10 at times than Carlos Gil. So congrats to him. What a pass it was out to Dagger Dan. Dagger, again, having a great game, causing problems. His relationship on that right hand side with Faku is grown and grown. And this is an example of him. Faku came inside, took the man, and, Dagger was able to be out on the right wing with some time. And he took the ball down with a great touch and then played in a beautiful cross that it was the kind of cross that Rafa Santos does from the other side. They're just hanging ball in the air and inviting a striker like Duncan Maguire, who's got that ability to attack the ball in the air. It's the perfect ball for him. And you saw afterwards, I put it on Twitter because, I had to. Their little dap up together, my boys. It made me happy because I love a rookie. I love a guy, an underdog. And both of these guys at the beginning of the season, Dagger and Dunk, where, they could be something, they could not. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And now they're like two pivotal parts of this team in a lot of ways. Like they've become, not as big a players as, Mauricio or Facu or Pedro, but they're playing a significant role in our success right now. And I think that's amazing for their age and the maturity that they're showing and the amount that they both developed, right? Duncan, incredible development, and Dagger, the same thing. And the two of them together have got some kind of relationship, right? Similar to the fact that, Angulo and Santos on the other wing have started to develop a relationship. And that's something I want to talk a little bit about more later. These relationships that are developing between players now.
No, I agree, and I do want to add. I want to ask Paola, right? I mean, you've seen Daryl Dike. We had a lot of great success with rookie strikers. To you, what's the biggest difference between Daryl Dike and Duncan Maguire? Because as you can see, obviously, he's hot right now. Duncan is this season, and but Daryl left to England to the English championship, right, to the championship. So with West Brom. So what do you think are the differences? Do you think between them two?
That's a great question, and it's a tough one. But at the same time, his mobility is much faster than DK. I will say he has not as same physicality than DK, but DK was like a tank. He was much heavier than Duncan, and even though Duncan has physicality too, he's not afraid of bumping towards the defending um, lineup. But I think the mobility I think he's a little bit much faster than DK, if I'm not mistaken. John, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's why. And I think Duncan, he jumps higher than DK. And DK jumped, but Duncan, his mobility, his way to go down, defend, stole the ball, and go right past the defenders to score a goal. I think that's the big
I
difference.
think the difference there, Colin, you're definitely right, is that guys like Laren and DK were naturally big players. Like they're just big guys, and they would use their physicality to a certain extent, but they didn't have to as much as someone like Duncan, who
Hmm.
isn't the biggest striker, and therefore he learned in college, and I guess over his years of playing in high school too, that he needed to be a bit more physical and be a bit more aggressive. And I think that's the difference there.
I think his mentality is not like I'm a rookie, and we have talked about this in prior pods episodes. Like you don't see that guy playing as a rookie. I can see him like right now with his maturity. Like this is the second or third year in the MLS for me. If you don't know he's a rookie, right? So I think the mentality too helps him connect with the teammates and connect those goals that he has had for the team.
I think that more than likely, I mean, the biggest difference that he had with DK is that DK was more of a physical specimen, in my opinion. Like just a massive dude, like like kind of like a tank. He just run over you. I believe that Duncan is a different type of striker. I believe that he's better on the. He's more he does the up and down defending, attacking. He creates his own plays. He could give a really good assist, something that you
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
really
he
see.
definitely closes down
Right.
guys way
Yeah,
like that,
he
pressing forward way more
exactly.
than
So
DK or
he's
Laren did.
now obviously Laren and DK were finishing machines. And but obviously he's shown that he's a little bit, I think, more versatile. Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't know
His
if I
record
would.
is better than theirs. It's
Yeah, I
finishing, right?
agree.
So arguably, he's a better finisher
Yeah,
than they
yeah. So
too.
I
Like,
would argue. I would argue that maybe there are going to be some teams interested in him soon from the Premier League. Not the Premier League, but the Championship more than likely. Um, like DK. I don't know if this in this season. I highly doubt, but definitely maybe there'll be some talks. Now it depends a lot of what he wants to do, and also how well he does on this Olympic national team. This is a big deal for him. So imagine if he becomes the goal scorer of the national team in this call up for the Olympics, right? Or he makes the cut for the final squad. I mean, it'll be a huge. I mean, I'll say he can even maybe make it to a better team than West Brom. You know what I mean? So there is a high ceiling for him. And what I love about Duncan is just his tenacity. And when you ask him, his humbleness. When you ask him, on a press conference, he was part of the press conference, and we would ask him questions, and we're like, hey, that was a fantastic goal. He's like, yeah, but he was giving more credit to Dagger, and kind of like saying, "This is my job, and I just did my job. I ain't no special specimen. I'm just me, and I don't care who's in front of me. Like I will do my job to the best of my ability. Like I like that. It shows that he has kind of like a leadership qualities, kind of, in a way, kind of like a mojo on him, like a good vibe that you can definitely tell he has some leadership qualities right there. I don't know, what are your thoughts regarding that, John?
yeah, I think he's definitely a locker room guy, right? Like he buys into everything. I think he just gives good vibes. You know what I mean? Like in a lot of ways, he seems like a team player and a guy who's always got a smile on his face. He just seems like he's having a good time, and that's you know like we were talking about the pressure and stuff coming out of college with the record he had, like taking a next step, going pro, and he's just taking it all in his stride. Like I don't, it doesn't look like maybe he's just really good at hiding it. I don't know. Like you don't know, but he's mentally that side of his game is very mature for his age. Like I think that there's some players that we have that are older than him that don't have the level of maturity that he's already shown in his first rookie year. So for me, I think he is the kind of guy that I would love to keep around for a long time. Obviously, there's a big chance that he's going to go to Europe. I think you're right, like a championship team. Or I also think like a team in Belgium or a team in Germany or a team in Holland, is very likely. We've seen that a lot with attacking players out of the US, young strikers, young wingers going to the likes of, Genk or somewhere in the Bundesliga, just because that's like a level for them where they would be able to do a bit more. I don't think the likes of Duncan is ready for somewhere like the Premier League. It just depends. We'll see. Like we lost, Laren and DK pretty quickly, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the case, right? The MLS has grown in strength. It's becoming a bigger league. Like not every young American wants to go to Europe now. Some of them are quite happy to stay in MLS till maybe, 25, 26, 27. Maybe at that point, then you're like, okay. So I think, yes, there's going to be interest, but we don't know. If Duncan's getting in the U.S. national team and he's playing for Orlando City, then what? And he doesn't feel like it's the right move for him, he might not want to go. So we have to wait and see. I think there will be interest, 100%. I want him to stay here forever, but I don't think that's realistic. We'll just have to hope that we have him for another season at least. I think next summer the pressure will be big on him to leave. I think we'll be okay for this coming window because he's still quite raw. But I think next summer the big transfers might start coming in for him.
Let's read some comments here. Christopher Bragdon, thank you so much. What player is our leader? I would say, well, I mean, the captain is Mauricio Pereira, right? But I feel like Duncan has leadership qualities for sure. I mean, I feel he has this tenacity of never giving
Oh,
up.
Jensen, massive leader
I
of the
think
back
Jansen
line
as well.
for sure.
I will say Junior Urso at some point last season. I will say he was also a locker room guy. Antonio Carlos also. It's just the language barrier, in my
What do you
opinion,
think
right?
about Cesar or Wilder? Do you think either of those guys has any sort of influence in the
I'm
locker
more
room like that?
surprised, believe it or not, I'm more surprised about Pedro because Pedro, one of the things that people will criticize when he used to play in Peru, they used to criticize him about was that he was like mute, like he wouldn't talk or speak to anybody, and he wouldn't,
Really? That's
yeah.
odd.
And when he went to Mexico, he went to a really horrible team that was run by narcos, and I will say like blatantly like that because the team disappeared and they ended up benching him and pretty much put him in the freezer until he gets freezer burn. And he ended up going back to Peru and then eventually went back to got the Orlando City gig eventually, but he was just like passed tossed around like anything, and so that really diminishes mental. He didn't feel himself. You know what I mean? He needed a new spark of a new challenge. And one of the people that have definitely pushed him and motivated him tremendously to be the keeper that he's right now is goalkeeper coach Cesar Baena, the Orlando City goalkeeper coach. And honestly, I mean, he's been intricate for his development. Not only him, but also the other keepers like Mason and Granny and everyone there. So I mean, my hats off for him because not only because of Cesar Baena, he's the one who ignited that fire on him, but show him kind of like to be a leader in a way, you know. And now when he goes to the national team, Pedro, people regarded him now as one of the captains, like automatically without thinking. That wasn't 5 years ago. That wasn't the case. Nobody would have thought that. So, says Victor Jose Sanchez, do you guys remember Laren and Winter goals in the last minute at Camping World Stadium? Yeah, I do. I do. I'm Jelly, JC Beast. I want experience being at the wall. There you go. OCSC better bring the moolah for 2024. Victor Jose Sanchez, right? I think we will. I have a feeling that we will. So let's go back into the game against New England. We talked about how Dagger opened the goal, opened the mark with a goal with across to Duncan. You know, now what can you say about conceding two goals, Paola? Right, because we were up with a high margin, and then it kind of seemed that we lost some of that momentum there. What are your thoughts regarding that?
The first goal, just it was just an error by the, obviously, defensively. I think Schlegel was trying to, that was, I don't remember. I know that one of the goals were, it was stopped by the post, thank God, and that Schlegel was not marking the dude who shoot that ball. And then the first goal for officially for Revs, it was just a mistake, unfortunately. I think we were too down offensively because we were up 2-0, obviously. So the defense, Rafael Santos was up with the offensive line, and he had a little bit of struggle there with Carlos Gil, who shoot the ball, and Pedro, a little mistake by Pedro, right? The few mistakes that we have seen by Pedro. He couldn't catch the ball, and the ball passed. I thought that he was gonna catch it. I was like, "Oh, this is easy," because when the keeper goes down with two of his hand, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna get the ball, and then what happened? I was like trying to rewind it, go fast forward again because I was not at the game. Unfortunately, I was home. I had family visit, but um I was trying to see what happened. It was a little error by Pedro, but that happens when you don't mark Carles Gil. That's the point.
I
And then
will
in
love
the
him
second,
in purple. Be
in
honest with you.
purple, and this is something that I talked to Alec last Saturday. I'm like, we need, and respect to Mauricio Pereira, right? But we need a Carles Gil as a number 10.
He'll be
We need that
amazing.
type of player, or Lucho Acosta, either like a mix. It has
We
to
we
be a
will
player out
we
there
will use that 10 DP spot.
Yeah.
Well, that 10. Sorry, that DP spot from Kara for a 10. I'm
for a
like
10,
9. I'm like 90% on that.
because we have strikers, but we're missing that 10. We like Mauricio can do some of the parts, but we don't have that solid player that complements a number 10. And then on the second goal, I thought at some point I was like, oh, the second goal, they better not tie this game. Just Wilder didn't mark Carles Hill. And that's what happens when you don't mark him. Like I said before, like if you don't mark this quality type of player, they're gonna shoot and they're gonna score. So we got lucky in some of the, and he had a free kick in the beginning of the game that he slightly missed by an inch. So we got lucky by that. But if we in a near future we're going to play against the ref, we need to mark Carles Hill regardless. Like Wilder needs to be on top or Cesar needs to be on top, but we cannot have this beast score us again against us.
No, I agree. I think that, when it came to the shot from Carlos Hill, in my opinion, I don't know what John thinks, but I believe that he's such a great, uh, he shoots from distance so well that, that shot bounced. I believe he did that on purpose a little bit. He probably thought, hey, maybe if I shoot it this way, he's going to try to scoop it up. And that's exactly what happened. He's going to try to scoop it up and then he's going to slip, and that's what exactly happened. Look, Pedro has saved us for so many dire straits. One mess up, man. Okay, look, man. One mess up out of freaking 2 seasons. I'll take it all day, man. Have at it. It's okay. Now, the second one, I did get a little worried on that one. Yeah, I did get a little worried. But again, I just felt what I really loved was that they're now getting used to play with each other, and you start seeing these. I know it sounds kind of wrong, but kind of like automation. Like mentally, they already know where each individual player is on the field, so that's why you see Orlando making all these passes. Now, the overpass is it's really annoying because in the first half, they had so many chances to score and no one put the finishing touch at it. Now, if we were playing a better team, someone from the West is like a St. Louis, for example, like that's going to be bad for us, in my opinion. It could bite us in the butt, at that point. I don't know. What are your thoughts regarding that, John?
Yeah, I mean,
Do you
I
think we're
agree.
overpassing the ball?
Yes and no. I
Yeah.
think it's hard with Carlos Gil. Like, I agree that we didn't stop him like we should have, and he could have punished us more. I think Pedro, it's harsh to like whenever goalkeepers make a single mistake, like it often leads to a goal. Like other players make a mistake, and so you see their mistakes more often, like that. And it wasn't great technique, I think, from him. I think he's got to do a little better there. And the second one, it's hard to blame him. But everybody kind of just, I feel like the last few minutes, the whole team switched off. So I'm not going to blame him specifically. And I agree with Paula. I think we should do it. Like that shot shouldn't be coming in because we should be doing a better job of closing Carlos Gil down in the first place, right? So I think all of that allowed them 2 goals the 2 goals that we shouldn't really have allowed. Like they didn't deserve those 2 goals. We were the better team for sure. It was just him hitting balls from long range, and the fact that he had such a good shot on him that caused us problems. Like everything else, we seem to deal with very well. So I'm not too worried about these 2 goals. I think if anything, it's a wake up call to Pedro to be like, you gotta, like we need you firing too, Pedro, because if we're gonna win these games, we need him making crazy saves like he did. Like it was a perfect example. Like he let one in and then he made an insane save like later on from another shot. So it all balances out in the end. But we need him on form. And also the whole team just switching off there. The last, like we just gotta make sure like we're seeing out games. You're not gonna win MLS Cup if you switch off for the last minute.
Correct.
Because something can happen like that.
No, I agree with you, and honestly, like it's very important for us to see some of the. We're gonna read some comments just a second, but we have some of the footage here for the game. Thank you to Orlando City Communications for all the footage. There you go. That's one of the goals. That's the dagger cross, and that's the Duncan goal right there. That's a beautiful cross, man. Like I was like, man, this is great. Like and the momentum just grew from there, right? People were calling Earl Edwards Jr. They're calling him asshole and stuff like
You
that.
mean the landlord?
Yeah, the landlord. Yeah, that's right. And then that's the second goal right there. Ivan Angulo, another great game by Ivan Angulo. I mean, he said he has some pain in his foot. He said in the post press conference, he has some pain in his foot, and Oscar told him to take a rest because he's going to need him in this game. And look how he performed. He took 1 day rest, and look at that. So he was everywhere. Now, the good thing about us too, and I may add, we have depth, and everyone is becoming healthy. We are going to go into playoffs with a full healthy squad, more than likely, and that is phenomenal. Look at Duncan right there. You don't get that from a solid straight 9. Like Kara wouldn't do that. Like so let's read some comments. Alonso Elinka, Alonso, how you doing, my friend? Alonso Contreras is here. Buena tarde. Pedro Galese is the leader of the team. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's one of the leaders. We need to bring Neymar in 2024. It says. There you go. Well, Tite's not coming. Victor Jose Sanchez, who can OCSC sign as a good number 10 next season? Well, Neymar. That could be your number 10, right? I mean, realistically speaking, I don't know. He says he's sick of Saudi Arabia, man. John,
Already?
he's already ready to go. He doesn't want to be there no more, John. He says that he's not getting along with the coach.
I think a lot of these guys underestimate how much of a culture shift it is going from, Spain or France or wherever you are in Europe to Saudi Arabia. It's huge. So I'm not surprised. I mean, they spent the summer signing up a whole bunch of guys, and some of them have settled in and they're happy there, and some of them probably are like, I'm don't really care how much money I'm making. I don't want to be here. Like that's the thing. A lot of these players got lured by like $500,000 a week, like insane salaries that they wouldn't be paid even in the Premier League if they were, like that was what Ronaldo was on at Man U, and they're getting paid that at Al Hilal, whatever, and that's like Jordan. You're talking about like guys like Jordan Henderson being paid that, like a guy that shouldn't really even be making a Premier League team now. Right. So it shows you that they're just throwing money at it. And I think some of these guys are going to want to leave if they're not happy come January. And maybe there's some market there to bring them to the MLS. I think my thing is I'd rather go after a 10 that could be here for a little while. Like if we go after a 10 who's like 35, we're just we're kind of
Right.
replacing Mauricio with another Mauricio. So my thing is, if we have Mauricio for another season, but if we're gonna kind of phase like replace him, then now is the time, and it's gonna be I think like something like a 27, 28-year old. And it's probably gonna be somebody out of South America. Imagine a Ojeda sort of level of player,
Well,
but
there is a player in Boca Juniors called El Colo Barco. I don't know if people from Argentina are listening. I know they'll know him. He's a solid 10. Great, great, great player. He's super young. He's probably like 23, 22 years old. Obviously, he's being targeted by Newcastle and Sheffield United and things like that. So, but I think a player like that, seeing how Thiago Almada is now part of the Argentina national team with playing in Atlanta United, and those big teams, those big soccer countries like Brazil and Argentina are embracing the MLS as a league that could export and bring players into national teams. I believe that why not targeting him, right? I mean, he fits everything. He can learn some English here, play his best football, win us a couple of cups, and then he can be on his way to playing Europe, just like many other players have done it from here, you know. So let's read some more comments. It says, "What about his Pedro's big saves in the second half?" Yep, that's right. That was a massive save, right?
that's
And
what
I
I
want
was
to,
talking about, right? Like it balances out.
yeah. It says Pedro es el mejor arquero de Orlando City en toda su historia. Los demás, unos muertos. Pedro is
That's true. That's true. Cause
Pedro's the best goalkeeper in Orlando City history. The rest
yeah,
of them are. Yeah, I agree.
that's true. Because if
I
it
agree.
was
With all the
Rowe,
respect of obviously,
yeah, for the other,
Gallardo,
yeah,
right? Because people
goalkeepers,
still,
right?
some of the fans love Gallardo, right? But I feel like Pedro is in a different level. Go ahead, Paula. Sorry, I cut you
No,
off.
I was gonna say, like, we mentioned that, oh, it was a little error by the first, goal, but comparing Pedro with other goalkeepers that Orlando City has, you could see more errors from the old goalkeepers than versus Pedro, right? So kudos to Pedro. He has been the best goalkeeper in the MLS for Orlando City. So I agree.
It says Sitch Taylor. Playoffs at home game. Let's win. Thank you, sir. We can Orlando City win last game. Go to conference for the cup. That's right. We're gonna go to the conference. We have the teams too. We're gonna talk about it in just a second. Yes, we gotta get a win. Your home game before we go to the cup. That's right. Thank you, Sitch. Appreciate that. Victor Jose Sanchez. What about Radamel Falcao, James Rodriguez, Juan Cuadrado? All right, I'll tell you right now. We'll love the players. I think they're phenomenal players, but all three of them are on their way out. If you give me a chance to sign out of those three, who would sign? Juan Cuadrado. James, he's not doing so well in Brazil, and I think he's right now not doing so well. Period. Hopefully he does a little better. And Radamel Falcao, I mean, I don't. He should retire, man. like
I
like
thought that he was retired already.
right, I think he's old, man. But anyways, I mean, no one questions their quality. But I think Orlando has shown the way their signings are low risk, high reward. The priority is to have a good age age squad. You want to have a 32-year-old squad age, right? You want to make it into between maybe a 25, 27, 28 years old at the most. So G-Men PR, I was in the game and I think we need flags at the wall, more fiesta, more songs, more celebration feeling. There you go. What are your thoughts there, John?
I would say I wouldn't be saying that to the ILF or the Ruckus. I think they would argue that they bring a lot of
Yeah,
flags, a lot of fun. I believe the wall,
yeah, it's mass. It's
I didn't
amazing.
actually get to go to this last game because I wasn't feeling so good this last weekend. So I all my friends went, and I was at home watching on TV, just jealous because I was watching them. The wall looked so incredibly packed and lively. And, I think that the attendance was like 24, 25,000. Like for our market, we get such great attendance. I think some of these other away games I watch and I'm like, who is there? Like watching who was the team we just played away recently?
Nashville.
Uh, Nashville, yeah. And they're like, not, it
They
was a
put those seats
Wednesday, but
in purpose in yellow, like
yeah,
just
they kind of camouflage how few people were in that, and their like wall or whatever that is, quarter section, you know, was not impressive. So I think we have an incredible support, and I think going into playoffs, it's going to be a massive advantage for us. The 12th man is a real advantage that we have. Like there was the Columbus game, the crowd pretty much willed the team on
Exactly.
to get that win. Like, and I think that is something that as long as we don't play Cincy, we're gonna have the whole way through playoffs, and it's a massive advantage that we've never had before. And we've never. I think we came fourth once in the MLS back year, right? Right, pretty much for the
Yeah.
2021
2020.
season. But yeah, we've never come second and had essentially everything but the MLS Cup final. If we get there, since it would be at home on our turf with the support of the wall.
Thank you to everyone that's watching. Make sure you drop your thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Click on the notification bell. Let's talk about the team of the week. We have an Orlando City Lion on the team of the week again. Again, I'm really upset of seeing Dennis Bouanga in this squad. Mr. Bouanga, come on, man. Don't be lying to people. You totally choked with Messi, man, and then you go and you ask him for his jersey. Sign my jersey, please. Sign it, please. Right here. You just scored like 2 goals on my team, but just sign it. Carlos Vela wanted to beat your butt, man. And with all due respect, like I would have done too, the same. Timo Pukki. I'm so happy to see Timo Pukki there. Timo Pukki is well known also in Europe. Nelson Quinones, Carles Hill with a great performance against Orlando City. Shaunier because there was nobody else. Westwood, Luquinhas, Alvaro Barrial, Miles Robinson, Kyle Duncan, Johei Takaoka from Whitecaps. Wow, man, look at that. And then Ivan Angulo. There you go. Ivan Angulo is on the bench. He made, oh, you cannot see it because of the banner. My apologies. Let me take it out. Ivan Angulo right there. Little right on the right in the corner. Right
he
there,
should
right
have
there.
been on the starting
Me
lineup,
too.
not
I believe.
on the bench.
I believe in. And then, Orlando with this win gets home field advantage, right, John? And they are pretty much good to go, clinched. What are your thoughts regarding this clinch? I mean, it's the best season we've done in numbers, in the standings. You've been there since the very beginning, my friend. How does it feel? It's probably for you. It's like a roller coaster ride, man. Like to see the team like
Yeah.
performing this well.
Sometimes I have to like double check that this is Orlando City and we're at a game and and I look at the table, like after a result, I look at the table and I'm like, I'm reading this right. We are in second. We do have 60 points, soon to be 63 points. Cause I'll say here right now, we're gonna beat Toronto. I don't think there's any chance of knock on wood.
Yeah, we're gonna
Not
be
beating
doing the
Toronto.
lineup soon.
So 63 points and second is unprecedentedly good, like for us. I mean, I tweeted about that. It was
4 points above St. Louis. In St.
yeah.
Louis,
I mean, if we'd have started the season a little, like if we'd have gelled a little quicker, then I saw somebody said that as well, like where we would be. And that's getting a little greedy. I'm really happy with what we got. Like compared to other years, we would be down there fighting for 8th, 9th, like trying to get into playoffs. And the last few years we've got in playoffs, but we've struggled to get there. Right now we're cruising into playoffs. And not only that, like I wrote down a comment from the commentator right after the second goal, and he said, "There's something wonderful happening in the city beautiful right now," and I think that pretty much nails it, like exactly right. For me, it's a special time to be an Orlando City fan right now, and for all of us that sat here through some horrible years and some terrible games, and thick and thin. Some
2015 to
yeah,
20
2015,
2015 to
2016 people
2017.
were there,
Yeah.
expecting us to light it up. Now it's coming good. It took some time, but this is a year where realistically we could win this thing. And
Yeah.
even
And
halfway through the season, I wasn't saying that we would. I mean, none of us predicted that. So the turnaround has been epic, and I think from here, it can only get better. And like I said, I sometimes I got to pinch myself to remind myself that hey, this is
right.
I'm watching up my team, and yeah, we are this good right
Yeah.
now. And those goals was just I don't know if you noticed, but all three of them was
Phenomenal.
Mauricio to the fullback to a winger.
Yep.
And I think that this team now it's all clicking. Like we were talking about Faku and Dagger Dan on that right hand side. They have an
Yep.
understanding and a partnership. You've got Angulo and Santos on the left hand side. They've got an understanding and a partnership. You've got your two center backs. Hopefully, when they're coming back, who obviously well known partnership. You've got the two in the mid. The double pivot that is feared across the league now. I'm pretty sure most teams are like, oh, damn, we're going to deal with these two guys. And then you've got Duncan McGuire, rookie of the year. Up top, you got Pedro in goal. I just named, apart from, and then Mauricio pulling the strings again. So that's the entire team. And they've
Yeah.
all
And then
got
the
something
new
right now that makes
players,
them special. So,
and then the new players knowing the role and doing,
and the
living
subs, the
up
depth.
to the money that they were, that we paid, that the club
Yeah.
paid
And
for them, right?
we're not, we haven't got any injuries. Everybody's fit and healthy. I'm struggling to find a negative here, right? Like going into playoffs, I think as long as we stay focused
Now,
and as long as the boys keep doing what they're doing,
yeah, some of the
there's no
negative,
reason we can't win this thing.
some of the negatives, like I've read some of the negatives, they're like, but compared to, I don't think, we have to think big, and they start making comparisons with the Premier League. I'm like, you can't compare Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester United. I won't say you can compare like Sunderland to Orlando City, like if they were in the Premier League, right? You just can't compare. You just can't compare the level. Or the MLS still a lower level league than the Premier League. So we're talking peas and carrots here. We're talking mashed potatoes and mashed sweet potatoes, my friend. It's completely different. They taste completely different. You cannot make the same assessment. And the good thing is that for you, Paola, what does it mean? Clinching second, you've been following the team for a long time as well.
I become a fan when we were in the dark, losing losing after a game, after another game, and I stood there because I love the team, I love the sport. And it's like John says, like friend of mine's make fun of me. Oh, you're always in Orlando and they're last, and I'm like, are you sure? Go to the standings. Go make sure we're not in 2018 anymore. We're a different team, different mentality, and I'm happy. And what I saw on Saturday, we're a solid team, and I cannot believe it. Like like I said, I was kind of worried because there's always team. They're a headache for us, and the Revs is one of them. So
And so is
I'm
Nashville.
impressed. And Nashville too.
I
Nashville is
mean, there's a
another
whole
one.
list of teams this year that we beat that caused us problems other years.
Exactly. So I'm like, wow, I can see ourselves in the final with no problems at all. We're solid. Let's live the moment because we need to, and we deserve this moment as fans because we have been here from the worst to the best moments with the team, and we deserve it as well as the boys. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's
happy.
a yeah, it's a beautiful moment to definitely. I mean, I've been following the team since 2010, so like to me, pretty much, you know, y- a lot of people don't understand it, especially back in South America, and you explain them about there's no promotion relegation. So, but you can definitely sense the culture of Orlando City. I mean, a small town that doesn't really have a lot of high accolades in sports. Only two Eastern Conference Finals, two NBA Finals that were completely choked. And here comes a small soccer team, coming into the USL, and trying to with a lot of kids, and it was red and white, right? And completely changed and created this massive culture. And then in 2015, everybody wanted to go to the MLS and give it a shot. Orlando went to the MLS, and here we go. Took a little while. We took a lot, as a club. I think we took a lot of tumbling. Kind of like when you put your clothes in the dryer. They kind of move around here and there. But then I think this year your clothes are gonna come out perfect, perfect, just to be hanged, right? And which we should maybe hang the championship this year. So definitely exciting. And having this big momentum it means to us that we're going to be doing international competition. And here are the teams so far that have qualified. We are qualified right now on the MLS bracket. So from Mexico we have Pachuca, Toluca, two very well regarded. I think the MX this in this Conca Champions Cup, it's going to be tougher than they did this year, because they got Pachuca, they got Toluca, they got Tigres again, and they got the big two, Chivas and America. And they also have Monterrey, right? Then you have from Canada the Vancouver Whitecaps, the Cavalry, and that's it. Yeah, Vancouver Whitecaps and the Cavalry. And then from the MLS, you have Fort Lauderdale FC, Nashville, Philly, Houston, FC Cincinnati, St. Louis, and then Orlando City. And then who are these other teams? The black and white one that has the CAI is called Club Atlético Independiente de la Chorrera. Yes, I say it again. Club Atlético Independiente de la Chorrera, which is the Panamanian from Panama, the Panamanian champs. And then you have from, I want to say that flag is from
Honduras, right?
Guatemala, I want to
Oh, the
say.
Guatemala flag.
Yeah, Guatemala. Real Estelí. And then you got the two from Costa Rica, Club Sport Herediano, and obviously the big boy, Alajuelense from Costa Rica. Orlando could be playing abroad, experiencing, depending on how the draft, the picks come, we could be playing in Haiti. We could be playing in Costa Rica. I would
A
love that.
Costa Rica away game. Sign me up.
I
I
will
am
be
there.
definitely going
Let's
there, guys.
go.
I'm gonna go sit on the island, on the beach,
That's
watch some soccer. I'm
that's
down.
right. That's right. Now, also be cool to experience other cultures, right? And so I believe that for this tournament, Orlando needs to definitely boost their roster. I mean, Orlando has the opportunity to definitely this season, coming up, open the wall a little more, and be one of the clubs that spends a little more this year, because the past two seasons Orlando spent the least in the East. So I think this season, coming up, Orlando needs to spend. Now, with that being said, we still don't have any word from Oscar's renewal, right? What are your thoughts regarding that, John? Because right now we're seeing news from other clubs right now, like, this is Minnesota United. pod just like us, that says that Kellen Carlton Bogart said an extra time that Oscar Pareja is the top popular choice, least within the MLS, to be the next Minnesota United manager. So there's started, we're gonna get this type of rumors, by the way, guys. So, and we're gonna start getting this thread because Oscar's hot commodity in the MLS, guys. I mean, talking about Orlando City, we are known because of Mickey Mouse, Pluto, and the Mickey's Clubhouse, and he's taking us to the promised land. So, what are your thoughts regarding that, John?
Well, my thoughts are they can get in line behind us, obviously.
Exactly.
First one, and then also there's Portland, Colorado, New England, and DC who just fired Wayne. So there's numerous clubs in MLS that would like to sign Oscar, I'm sure. Somebody told me a long time ago that MLS teams can't approach other MLS teams' manager during the season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true or not. It would make sense to me because it's like a one entity system. So it's kind of like, it's like I own a McDonald's and then you own a McDonald's and then you have an amazing employee and I want to steal your employee and they're both McDonald's. And like McDonald's would be like,
right.
You can't do that. That's how I see it.
You can't because you both are franchises. You know what I mean?
So that's how I see it. I don't know if this is true. If anybody knows the answer to this, like amazing, please tell me and show me where you found the evidence of this, because this is one of those things that like maybe is in some rule book somewhere, but I don't think we have access to it as the public. So I'm hoping that's the case, in which case it doesn't matter what Minnesota do because we have till the end of the season, to the end of his contract, whatever parameters there are before other MLS teams could approach him anyway. That's one. Two, I don't think Oscar's go to Minnesota.
It's horrible.
I don't think Oscar's interested in any of these clubs.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not being funny though. I think like where we are right now, I think, as long as we're offering him a contract, if it's between us and then what he's doing here and going to one of these other MLS teams, I don't see Oscar being like, yeah, I want to go start a project in New England or start a project in Portland. Maybe Portland, but even then,
exactly.
Why move? If want to keep him here, he's not going to want to go, in my opinion. I think he's happy here. He knows, especially this year, if we don't win this whole thing, he's going to have this sort of like, I was so close and I need to go again with the same team. Like I'm not done, right? Even if he wins MLS Cup, I don't think he's going to want to go because he's building something that's bigger than just one win here. I think he's trying to build a legacy for himself at this club. So
the culture him and his staff has built.
I think as long as we sign him back and that he knows he's wanted. I mean, I saw in the press conference, like he made a comment on the fact that he was, what was the word he used? Something about like, it's obviously, not disconcerting, but there is some concern, right?
Yeah, like he would like to say, yeah, he would like to mask that he's not worried, right?
But there's obviously some worry there. Like anybody whose job contract is running out and they're not sure about the future, you're going to have question marks.
But you're also he also
but he seems assured that
he said
the conversation will be had.
I mean, he said right now we're concentrated with the games, and he said verbatim, "I'm not thinking about my contract at the moment." He's prioritizing that there's a playoff to win. And again, guys, bringing this talk in playoff time when the team is doing so great, and the players are watching, the people are watching. It's just kind of like it doesn't really help in a way. It's gonna happen no matter what. I mean, in the end, you, John, Paola, myself, none of us here have a say. Is the club, they decide.
But maybe the Wolves, if there was any question marks, maybe the fact that they see a team that they tried to buy, or it's not a team they try to buy, a team they try to found in Minnesota. And then, other big teams around the league are hunting for Oscar. Maybe that says to them, hey, we need to lock this guy down.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're hesitating. I think this is just the club's policy. I think this is just how they've always done it. It's always been at the end of the season, and Oscar knows that. Like, we renewed him before, right? This is obviously not his first contract with us. So I think we just gotta assume that as soon as that season is over, that contract will be put in front of Oscar the next day, and he's going to go ahead and sign it. Until that isn't the case at the end of the season, I'm not going to panic.
Now, a lot of people say, that people don't think that he's coming back unless we make a huge, like, deep run in the playoffs. People are saying, if we're kicked out first round, we should be let go. I was like, it's a complete different beast. Like you said, John, you cannot judge a whole season over one freaking game, man. I mean, that is anti soccer or anti football or
I
anti
mean, I come from the
football.
European mindset of the
Yes,
team,
you can't
like
do that.
in Europe, since he already won it,
Exactly.
right? So we're all just playing for second. But in America, it's not how the American mentality or American sports mentality is. Playoffs is the most important thing in this country. And so some people that matters more than others. Like, I think would be a shame to turn on Oscar, is the word I'll use, if we lose in the playoffs and don't go as far as we would have hoped. I don't think
And
it would be fair.
and if he's picked and he becomes a CG Smith best coach in the league, and we do not sign the man, I mean, I highly doubt the Wolves and I highly doubt that Orlando is going to shoot themselves in the foot. That is that would be like
You
pulling
hope
a
not.
Grant Hill trade for the Magic. I remember when Grant Hill came to Orlando Magic, it was this, it was a shot. They shot themselves in the foot, right? When they let Shaq go, like that's a let Shaq go moment to the Lakers. Go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, I was just saying my dog is snoring in the background if you ever hear that. So sorry. Sorry to anybody who
Good.
hears like, what is that
No,
noise?
we didn't. No.
No, but I believe he's definitely in the conversation for that nominated for Coach of the Year, and if he does win it, I believe he should stay. I mean, I believe at this moment he should stay. We have that
I
much.
think, Luis, he's going to be here next season,
Yeah,
regardless of win, lose,
I believe so.
how long we take to give his contract. And I'm sure if he leaves, somebody will clip this up and send it back to me and be like, "You were wrong, ha ha ha."
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at the end
But
of
there
the
were
day, I
people. I
don't
mean,
get
there
the
were some
vibe like he
people.
wants to leave, Luis. I don't
Well,
get
there
the
were
vibe like
some.
he wants to leave, and I don't get the vibe like we're really upset with the way the season's gone. Obviously, we're not.
Well, there were some people that were completely wrong. I mean, in my opinion. I mean, and I bring this up right here. Benvindo Chiche to Flamengo. Benvindo Chiche. Says welcome Tite to Flamengo, not to Orlando City, not to the MLS. And a lot of people were hyping this when the boat was kind of going like this, right? And the waters were high. People were like, oh, mysterious accounts all of a sudden appear in the Orlando City atmosphere. Voices of the people, question marks, quotation marks, started saying, oh, look, Tite is going to be the next coach of Orlando City. People from in Brazil too. He's in conversations. And first I think the club completely disregarded these rumors in the beginning. But then second, I mean, there you go. It tells you right there. He's not interested in coming to the MLS. He signed I think 3 or 4 season contract with Flamengo, one of the biggest teams in Brazil. So um honestly, it wouldn't be my pick of a coach for Orlando City. Whether you have a Brazilian bank on iDrive still doesn't make that you could bring a Brazilian coach that doesn't know not even 1 ounce of English and expect to communicate with Walker Zimmerman, communicate with Caleb Porter. You just can't do that. I don't
If
know.
you were to describe for me, like, you need a coach that knows MLS, speaks Spanish, and has a proven record of being a winning coach. Can you name anybody on that list who
I
isn't
know
Oscar
one.
Pereira? Right? Like, That's I thought long and hard about who I would like. In an ideal world, I could replace Oscar with anybody. Like, and this is realistically, right? I'm not. You can't go get Pep Guardiola here. Like I'm talking like somebody we
Paula, we're
could
definitely
actually
bringing her
get.
season. Her season pass.
I think there's not a long list. And I think
Or,
if
or,
you were the GM of the
or
club,
Mourinho.
you'd struggle. God, no, Mourinho.
Mourinho, he'll
Oh,
come and he like shake your
Luis.
hand. Hi, John. I'm here. We're gonna play
So
this
what? We
shit.
can watch the Mourinho special 1-0 every week,
Exactly
and then
right.
everyone will be like, "Yeah, get rid of Mourinho because we're watching boring soccer." Yeah,
Mhm.
Exactly.
that's the thing. You have
Zero
to
patience.
remember, Oscar, we're playing attractive soccer right now.
Yeah.
Who's to say we don't sign ourselves up for some guy who wants to play like Nashville too? Oh, that's boring.
What are your thoughts about this, Paola? The whole thing about Oscar and Tite, that obviously was a rumor that's no longer a rumor. It's pretty much dead.
I
Um,
mean, I I agree with John. I think he's gonna be here next year because it's like a domino effect. He changed our culture. He's developing the academy. Like it's a lot of facts, and people just see that he was losing in the beginning of the season and not losing like a lot. We only had like 7 loss, if I'm not mistaken, in our record. And then people forget all the good things, positive things, right? That he has done for the club. And then I believe if he wouldn't be here for next year, he would have been fired when the boat was not running well. You know?
We're
That's
past
my
the
thought.
point of them wanting to get rid of Oscar.
Exactly.
I think they were like, they were never going to fire him. They were always going to let him see out. If they didn't want him, they would have let him see out his
of
contract,
course.
and then they just won't renew him. So this was always in the plan to still be at this point in the season and not know Oscar's status. This was how they have done it year on year, like we talked about. So I think the question would have been, if we were not in the playoffs now, or we're down in ninth or whatever,
I
I
think
think
he
very
will
real
probably gone.
possibility of not renewing Oscar. But obviously that's
Mutually
not the
parts
case.
ways.
It's yeah, mutually parts ways because you know
No, I'll be honest with you. There was a journalist, a colleague that asked a question to him after the Columbus game. Pretty much said, hey, would you like to maybe coach a national team at some point? From CONCACAF. And he said, of course. I mean, who wouldn't want to coach a team from CONCACAF at some point, right? So, and I mean, depending on how this season plays out for Orlando, I mean, and let's say he doesn't continue with the team. I mean, there's teams like Costa Rica, like maybe even, I want to say Mexico, but there's, Panama and things like that he could maybe, you know, poach on and maybe take a look and see, because
I mean, that's
he's a
more of a
fantastic
worry for
coach.
me is the fact that he could go to Europe or South
Exactly.
America or
Yeah.
to international match. I don't see these other MLS teams as
Yeah.
something Oscar is interested in.
He could easily coach a team in Peru, like straight up a top level team.
Yeah, but I think also for him, it has to be an upward move, right? I think if
Right.
Europe comes knocking, Oscar's probably going to want to give that a shot, right? Like but it's hard. You don't see a lot of that going on. You don't see a lot of managers from MLS jumping over to Europe. So I think Oscar's going to be here next year. He'll be happy.
All right. So we're gonna do our lineup. We're gonna read some comments real quick. Thank you so much for watching us. 14 people live right now. Thank you so much. Christopher Bryden, a star above the logo. Let's go. I agree, man. I'm definitely paying $150, $90 for a jersey with a star on the
And I
logo.
said it, if
Oh
we
yeah.
become the champs, I'm going to buy the purple kit
And not
because I
only
want that
that, like,
star.
guys, like, honestly, like, and I'm talking about the city, like everyone in the city needs to support Orlando City. I mean, it will be the first. I mean, we already won USL, but and the US Open Cup, but this is like, it's like winning the NBA championship, but for the Magic or winning like the MLB for like Tampa Bay Rays. You know what I mean? It's a huge deal, man. Like people need to start waking up and smelling the coffee that Orlando ain't a basketball city. It's a soccer city. And we need to definitely, and I commend the city, hopefully, to really put the infrastructure, because if we really want to make noise and we call themselves a soccer city, maybe the camping world, okay, great, let's build something a little bigger, right? You know, a bigger stadium, right? Soccer specific, maybe host at some point, be able to host a Copa America there, why not, right? If we're already, I'm just thinking like 5, 10 years from now, but it's still like we need to really, like, if we're already in the soccer train and we're champs and we deliver a championship to the city beautiful, let's keep working and keep building. I mean, we can just stay stagnant and wait another 15 years to win a championship, right? uh, so Victor Jose Sanchez, it says, if Orlando wins the MLS Cup championship this year, i will be I will be a banned from the stadium on the wall. There you go. Do you saw a video for a person wearing a Messi jersey in Busch Gardens and a young kid started following him with an Orlando jersey? Oh yeah, I
I
did see
did.
that. That's amazing. G-Man PR. Don't get me wrong, it was loud and attendance was great. I'm talking about that Atlético Nacional Barra feeling. All right, so like from Colombia. Okay, my friend, I just feel like we're still. I mean, it's different cultures, man. It's just completely different.
It's
And so,
different. Like the way they support in the UK is different from the way
yeah,
they support in
right,
Brazil. It's different from the way they do it in Germany. In
mhm,
America, it's just how we. It's not this. You're never going to get an entire stadium of ultras.
correct.
There's a section of ultras, and then there's families.
Yeah, and then you don't want to, and that's another thing is like you don't want to bring a Spanish song, right, and translate it in English. It never works the same, right? You have to create your own songs and things like that. Says, I was in the game and I think we need flags at the wall, more fiesta, more songs. Thank you so much, G-Man PR. Appreciate that. Let's do our lineup for the game against Toronto. Again, this is the last game that we're going to be playing in the regular season. We already clinched. I do see that, I don't know, in my opinion, I believe that maybe Oscar may rotate some players. I don't know, what are your thoughts regarding that, guys, but I feel like he may be rotating some players. What are your thoughts?
I will say he
Well,
will keep it the same,
The
probably
same?
one or two, because
I have
he
one
has this
player that should be
mentality.
starting.
His mentality is playoff time, right? And probably, I don't know, he's practicing some moves. I don't know, but I will see one or two people subbed out for this game, but not the entire rotation for the squad. For the squad. What
Correct.
about you, John? I could see Smith in this game.
I think it's going to be the exact same lineup, just with Antonio Carlos instead of Schlegel.
I agree.
So we're going to see Dagger. We're going to see
AC
AC
back.
with Rodrigo, not
I
with
think
Jansen.
because the fact that there's an international break, which by the way, ridiculous time to have an international break. But anyway, like the end of the season. So there are some teams that are playing next week because they have that extra game in hand. Like Miami, obviously they're playing Charlotte twice in a week.
Oh yeah.
Right? Charlotte trying to get in the playoffs and have to beat Miami twice in a week. So that's going to be an interesting storyline. But back to us. I think because of that break, Oscar's going to want this game, and because I think there's another break before playoffs, right? There's like another week or maybe
Yeah, there is
more.
another
It's a
break in
week.
November.
I hope just 1 week, thankfully. So he's going to want this game is like a warm up playoff game, I think. So he's going to want to play the lineup that he will want to play for that first game in the playoffs. And therefore, I think, and I definitely think Antonio Carlos has got to play a full game, but maybe there's an argument to say you don't put Antonio Carlos in. I mean, as much as Schlegel has had moments this season where he's made mistakes, the last 3 or 4 games he's
Yeah,
been
he's been
solid.
solid.
He's been
So
solid, yeah.
it's hard to I think Antonio is the better player. He is, and Schlegel could be a game away from messing up again, and it'll going downhill for him. It could happen. So it just depends whether Oscar trusts Schlegel to remain in there and keep doing a good job, or whether he wants to push Antonio to come back for the playoffs. In which case, definitely Antonio, I think, will start this game. Do you guys see it that way?
I agree. I don't know why Schlegel over Jansen though. He's suspended.
Jansen. Oh wait, no, I was talking about Antonio and Jansen starting. Sorry, did I say Antonio?
Oh, Antonio and Jensen? I thought you said Antonio and Rodrigo. Okay.
I meant Antonio
No,
and
Jansen, yeah.
I'm just so used to saying Rodrigo in this starting. No, AC and Jansen, yeah. But Jansen also arguably could use a rest, right? So we're getting this week off, so everybody's getting a rest. So I think that like we need a game for Jansen or whoever is negated by the fact that they have 2 weeks. So I believe this will be the lineup. If he's pushing Antonio to come back. If he's happy with Schlegel, then it would be the exact same lineup that we saw for the Revs game. Would you make changes? Would you do something different from that? Do you think Oscar would do something different?
No, I don't think he's gonna be different because, like I said, his mentality is playoff time, and I don't think he's gonna do a lot of movement. He just want to keep the momentum that he's having right now with the current squad that we saw against Ref. So I think he's gonna repeat with Toronto, even though it's a beatable team. He doesn't care.
So we got footage of a colleague from Radio Ovacion in Peru. Pedro and Will are already in Peru, so they're not going to be playing against the last game against Toronto. So they're already in Peru. So that means that.
But they'll be back, right?
Hopefully, right? So we're skipping 1 week, right? We're skipping 1 week.
Yeah, only 1 week.
They'll be gone this whole week, and then they'll be back the week after.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so they'll be playing. They'll be playing then. Yeah, I mean, they'll be back. They'll be back by then. Honestly, like they're already there. I mean, you can see them. This is the footage. They're already in the hotel. They're ready. They arrived yesterday night, and they went straight to the hotel where the Peruvian national team is. This morning they had a training with everyone, so they're already there. Same with Facu. Facu's already in Uruguay. So Pedro Galese and Willer Cartagena with Peru. They will be facing Chile on October the 12th. As well, they will face Messi on October 17th, right? And then Uruguay on the same day will face Colombia on the 12th, and then they'll face Brazil, Vini's Brazil, on October the 17th. So same days. So it's going to be interesting. I do believe hopefully no one gets hurt, right? I think that's I think the worry, right?
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. And I have to feel. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the games. The Peru versus Chile games are very brutal. They are regarded as a derby, one of the big South American derbies. So after Brazil and Argentina, I think the second most intense derby in South America between nations is Chile-Peru. So I feel like they're gonna go all out for this game because Peru has never won in Chile ever. And so they have a huge chance now to beat Chile down on their home turf. But we have Pedro up top, Dagger, AC, Jansen, and Rafael Santos, Araujo, and Cartagena, and then Mauri. I think we're all in agreement with that. Or would you rather do Ojeda?
No, I don't. I think as much as Ojeda, as good as he is, he's not getting in the lineup right now. We've seen this. It's like Angulo was rested because Angulo needed a rest, not because Ojeda. We thought it was because Ojeda took it in the lineup, but it was more because, I mean, do you see it that way, Paulo? That it was just because Angulo needed a game to rest.
I see it that way. I won't the formation is working, don't touch it.
Yeah,
That's Oscar
if it ain't
mentality.
broke, don't fix
Don't
it.
fix it.
That's yeah,
Exactly.
a classic English phrase.
No, I agree. I agree. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So,
And
so
that could
this
be
is,
the argument for Schlegel, right? I mean, that's as much as I all year been like Schlegel's not good enough, which I still don't. I don't think he's a starting guy. Love him, but do you kick him out? I think that's a big question.
no, I like the way this lineup looks to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? I like that.
I mean, AC and Jansen are often called one of the best
Yeah,
partnerships in the
Oh
league.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So it's hard to argue with the idea of them being back together for playoffs.
yeah. It's gonna be great. I have a feeling that this is gonna be. I think you're right. I think we need to see them in action together again. To especially before playoffs, and this game is a perfect opportunity for not only the fans but for everyone to see them play side by side again. So I like this starting 11. So Pedro Galese up top, Daggerden, Antonio Carlos Jensen, and Rafael Santos. Two in the mid, you have Cesar Araujo and Wheeler Cartagena. Right in the mid, you have as number 10, Mauricio Pereira. Your left wing will be Mr. Ivan Angulo, and then on the right wing, Mr. Facundo Torres, and then right up top, the Hound of the Heartland, the American Howland, Duncan McGuire. Orlando runs on Duncan. Please sponsor us, Dunkin' Donuts. Thank you. There you go.
That will be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be
Free
fantastic,
donuts
right? You
every
imagine?
time that
Can
he
you imagine
scores a
if
goal.
Dunkin' Donuts sponsors us? That'd be
Oh
fantastic.
yeah.
That'd be great. There you go. So this is the ranking index. Oh man, this is great. Let's take a look.
We are the third highest ranked MLS team
There
in
you go.
this CONCACAF ranking index of, mainly dominated by Mexican clubs,
Correct.
but we're above LAFC, and we're above Columbus Crew, and we're above FC Cincinnati, and we're above Seattle, and we're above, Fort Lauderdale. So it's pretty nice to see us high up in these lists and these achievements. And we're up there with the best of them right now, Luis, and it's nice to see.
I'll be honest with you. It's a disgrace that they put St. Louis FC below Mazatlan. Come on, man.
I
Mazatlan is
feel like if you're just a Mexican
horrible
club,
team.
they just rank you high
Horrible.
anyway. Like some of these teams, I'm like, really? Like Chivas have not done much recently.
Also, do we really believe that Sporting Kansas City, with all the respect to Patrick Mahomes, is in a higher ranked than maybe Houston Dynamo that just won the Open Cup? I'm sorry, but
I don't know what they assessed this on, but interesting to see that
yeah,
we've moved up to 11th, which is cool.
I
And
just
then the
think
other link I sent you, if you open that one, just thinking about who that first playoff game might be against, it's very likely that it will be Nashville. There is a scenario where it's Atlanta, but it's very likely that that first set of playoff games, which is remember is best of three. We're doing baseball now. Best of three. So we're going to be playing most likely, unless something crazy happens, Nashville for the first three games of playoffs.
they're gonna try to knock us out of the playoffs, Nashville. If it's not, I mean, either or, Atlanta or Nashville, it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah. I mean, who would you rather if we have to play three games against them? I'd rather play three games against Nashville because I believe at home, I don't think they're a very good away team. Whereas I think Atlanta have the potential to,
Yeah,
score a lot of goals, whereas
yeah.
Nashville right now can't score goals. So I think Nashville is actually the team I'd rather play.
Yeah, I'll pick Nashville too. Some other fans were saying, when are they going to score a touchdown? I was told by a couple of colleagues. Some of the fan base of Nashville were looking for the quarterback, and they're like, "Hey guys, This is play with your feet. They're like, oh, right. Yeah. So, so anyways, I do believe Nashville could be a great opponent. I think either way, Orlando's going to have a tough game. Look, just by Oscar going to the next round, I mean, what he's done is tremendous with having one of the least expensive rosters in the league. I mean, Orlando is number two, spending the less money than everybody else. If I'm DC United, I would like to pull my hair out and shave it sincerely. I mean, Benteke, then Rooney, then Flores, like all these busts that they've had. So incredible. So we had another Twitter, right, from
Uh,
Tom
uh,
Bogart.
yeah,
What is
literally
this one
what you were
about?
just talking about. I saw it on Twitter, so I thought I'd send you the
Yeah. So look, we've spent.
Toronto.
So let me download the. There you
So I
go.
just can't stop laughing at that. Toronto
So look,
spent the most money here in the bottom place.
look at Toronto with 25,741,930 they've spent.
That
Unbelievable.
Insigne money going hard.
Look at Janie Bus and the Bus family. 23 million. Chicharito to me is worth a hot pocket. And
I mean, look at that.
maybe
Toronto, Galaxy, DC all had terrible seasons, and they're the top
imagine.
four spenders.
Look at Austin too, 19 million. Chicago. Look at Chicago, man.
Chicago, Seattle, like New England are up there. I mean, this was in the
And
summer, so
look at
obviously
Miami.
Miami are top of this list now by a long
Yeah,
way.
correct. Um, Houston, like Houston, 17 million. There you go. Columbus, Kansas City. This is all Patrick Mahomes money right here. New York City FC, Cincinnati, Portland, Dallas, and then here you go, little Orlando right here with
I'm
its
not I'm
humble.
not being funny, but some of the best teams in the league right now are at the bottom of this spending.
Correct.
St. Louis, like RSL are doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Like Nashville are doing pretty well. Like they're down there.
Red Bulls did I
Philly
think all right.
down there, obviously a top team in the East. Like, it shows you that you spend all this money, it doesn't necessarily equate into a winning season in MLS.
Now, my question is why is this important? Because if you notice, the Academy of Orlando, that's one. Depth. You have also Colorado's Academy, depth. Philly's Academy, depth. There's a lot of these teams that they have really good, uh, you know, good bench and good young players, and they have a culture. I think we need to keep building on that. But I believe if we really want to do the jump, to truly be after winning the MLS Cup, the Kings of Florida, right? We need to open that wallet a little more, but be conscious on how we're going to spend it. So it's not like just us opening the wallet and just saying, okay, all right, I want Salah and Griezmann and Ronaldo from Saudi Arabia with 39 years old. Please come over here, take my money. Come on, here's my wallet. Go take it. No. You gotta be conscious. Sign good players that are able to definitely take us to the next level, in certain key positions, like the number 10, for example, then maybe another striker that's going to complement Duncan. You know what I
Maybe
mean?
another center back would be nice.
Another center back,
Paolo,
again.
what's in your shopping list for next year? What would you like?
A number 10 for sure. I don't know about Antonio Carlos renewal, so I will be looking for another center back. Hopefully Antonio Carlos
I
stays if
don't I
he's
don't think we need
healthy.
a right back anymore. I
I
think we
will
We don't
keep
found a right
Dagger.
back.
I will
I
keep
will
Dagger.
Dagger, he's improving
Dagger's my boy right there. My
each
boy.
game,
But
and
maybe you bring
Rafael
a right back
Santos.
in and you free Dagger to be a midfielder again if you wanted to do
No,
that.
or you can bring a MLS caliber that is a solid, that could play both left and right.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
because we don't have that right now. We only have you play unless it's Kyle.
A specific, yeah.
Right? It's either Kyle could play both, but I never seen, for example, Rafael playing the right. He always
No.
plays the left. So you know, maybe I like Dagger there. I would have moved Dagger to a midfielder. That's just my opinion.
I'm just spitballing ideas. I
Right?
think this is the end of the season, and this is why we need Oscar back here. We need Luis.
Exactly.
Like that's
Come
the
on.
thing. We're always talking about Oscar's renewal. Luis Muzi is the more important one in lots of ways because he's
We'll
Oscar's
see.
boss. He's the one who makes these decisions.
Ricardo
Ricardo
Moreira as
Moreira,
well.
right? The same thing. Like we need all three of them back.
We needed them back.
And I think I am choosing to remain positive that this is all
Same
just
here.
going to happen, Luis. It's
Same
a
here.
matter of time.
Same here. So definitely exciting to be an Orlando City fan right now. I want to thank everyone that watched the show today. An hour and 33
Oh, do
seconds.
a quick word on the Pride's last home game on Sunday.
Yeah, they got to fill it
Everybody
up.
must come. Must come.
Yeah, the Orlando Pride.
This Sunday?
This Sunday, and it's like do or die for the Pride. They play the Houston Dash. I mean, it's if you look at the table, they are anything could happen on decision day on Sunday in the NWSL. Like there's so many teams that could make it into their playoffs and teams that could drop out of like literally like third place is on 30 points. And then we're on 28 points in seventh place.
Yeah.
So one win could potentially take you up to third if everybody else loses above us. So which is insane. I like this table is.
Can you imagine if that happened?
I like look, even racing. Like look at even Houston Dash who we're playing. If they win, I don't know. Like I don't think they can get into playoffs. I think they cannot. Right?
Who?
No, I don't think they can. I think on goal difference, Houston Dash, who we're going to be playing, cannot get into the playoffs. But Racing Louisville and Angel City, who are below us, definitely can jump over us and get into the playoffs. So there's anything can happen. And the Pride have had a great season so far, much better than other years before. They're so close to making the playoffs, which they haven't done in years. So I think everybody needs to come out on Sunday and support, right? I mean, we don't
support the Pride.
We don't have a city home game. So come to Pride on Sunday. That's my tagline. You don't have to come to 2 soccer games. Just come to one.
Look, the
come
record.
to the Pride.
Yeah, the record of attendance for South America, it's around 23,000. So we can definitely do that. So guys, go support the Pride. It would be great for these women that have bust their butts on literally young exciting players. I mean, I think next season the Pride is definitely going to make the playoffs easy with the squad that they have right now. It's important for you guys to go and support. Tickets are fairly affordable, right, John? I mean, really,
it's a great family day out. Like and it's really chill compared to the city games. Like you get to enjoy the concourse without, having to fight people, or you can go line up for your favorite food because you can get it quick because there's no line. It has a sort of, minor league vibe about it, even though it's the women's major league. And I enjoy that. I think it's a lot of fun. I think, it's a cheap ticket. I think the women play incredible soccer.
Yeah, amazing.
And I think that it's really enjoyable to watch. And just with everything that's, like we said, with the playoffs being on the line, and it's really do or die. And those kind of games are, always great to watch. So if we could get 5,000 out instead of the usual 2,000 or 3,000, even that would make a difference. And these players that have been working hard all season, it would mean a lot to them, I think, to get a big bump for their final game and help them maybe get into the playoffs. They need a little bit of that 12th man love that we've been showing the city team recently,
Correct.
Let's not forget, we got enough, and that would be all 3 teams in the playoffs, Luis.
Yeah, if we bring...
That makes me very excited.
Yeah, if we if we definitely pack the Pride game, it will send a bus that we're definitely are a soccer city of Florida, because Miami will never be able to do that. Neither probably Atlanta, but we can, and we're showing that we are that city. And honestly, like it'll make them bust their butts and probably win that game. That 12-man factor is important. So I commend everyone to come see the Orlando Pride too. And not only that, but Carrie Bello had a phenomenal game. I watched the game. I was there. Phenomenal game by Carrie Bello. Unfortunately, it didn't go their way, but honestly, it's okay. They went 2 goals up, and then they lost 3-2. But now they have the chance by winning against the Dash to put themselves out there, right? Anything else you want to add, Paula?
No, I'm thinking if I can make it to the Pride game on
Yeah,
Sunday,
I'm
that will
definitely
be
gonna be
awesome.
there.
I'll get there. You're
Let's see,
gonna
let's
come.
see.
I'm gonna drag you there for sure. Anyone else I see, I'll drag you also.
All right, guys. Anything else you guys want to add, John? Anything?
No, just thank you for everybody who's here live with us and comments and everybody who listens later. We are so close at the end of this season, and we appreciate you guys supporting us and following and thank you because it means a lot, and we don't get paid to do this, so we need your support just like the boys on the field. And a like and a comment goes a long way. So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys for everything you guys have. John and Paola on the pod always, and all you guys watching and listening to the show today. Thank you. Yeah, support us. Click on the notification bell for all notifications. Subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to this on the description of the on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, there's going to be links of all our social media. So make sure you subscribe to that and drop us a like. Anything else you want to add, Paula, before we go?
No, vamos Orlando. Let's do
All
it.
right, guys. Vamos, Orlando. Let's win against Toronto. Have a wonderful day, guys.